Alicia with Better My Blueprint podcast. Today is episode 5, where we will be discussing on how to choose happiness as a woman. Today we do have a guest. But before we get into the guest, make sure that you guys are following me on all of our social media platforms. Make sure that you are subscribed to us on YouTube, download us on Spotify, and follow us on Instagram and put the little post notifications so that you are aware every time we post. Today we have our second guest on the podcast, a dear friend of mine, is Kenedi. I'm super excited for you to be here, girl.
Me too.
We are going to be talking about, how to choose happiness as a woman, no matter what you're going through in life. Basically, we're going to discover biblical principles and practical tips that can help you cultivate genuine joy as well as contentment and just being that girl.
Yes.
Right?
I love it.
So, a little bit about how to choose happiness as a woman. And this is not just directed at women, even though this is to celebrate Women's History Month, even though that was last month. But even though it's just to celebrate Women's History Month, we are also making it broad for anyone, not just men.
Yes.
Women, men, all of us, okay? Because we all are going through so much stuff in life, especially now and how life is.
Okay.
And it's hard to choose to be happy and to choose to be joyful in the midst of the storm. So we'll be talking about that. The first thing that we will be talking about is like what the Bible says about happiness. We'll be discussing scriptures related to happiness, joy, contentment. The first scripture that I chose was Philippians 4:4. And it talks about rejoicing in the Lord always. Mm-hmm. And that scripture lets me know that there's joy in the Lord. Mm-hmm. So we should always like when we're lost and when we're trying to find that thing that's going to satisfy us, he's the only one that can give us that joy that you need. Like everybody's like, oh, I want to be happy. But really, you want to be joyful because joyful lasts for a long time compared to happiness.
For sure. And I feel like when I saw this one on like the list and whatnot, I really liked it because I feel like this is one we heard growing up all the time in church and all the time in the background. And so this one made me excited just because it reminded me of like my grandparents' joy and like them always just saying that. And so I feel like this scripture here, it just gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's a big word, hope.
For sure.
And then the second scripture that I have is Proverbs 17 verse 22. And it says, a joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. And for that scripture, I thought it was very powerful because it basically lets me know that, there's nothing in this world that's going to heal you more than looking and seeking joy, which is in God. And if we sit here and be depressed and be upset and be frustrated, be miserable and bitter for the rest of our lives, that actually takes a toll on your body. Like physically, you actually get sick for real.
Yes.
I remember there was a point in life where I was like really depressed after someone in my family passed away. Mm-hmm. And I just sat all day, every day. And then I noticed that I was starting to get more colds. I was getting like attacked by more like germs out there. Yes. My body was weaker. My blood pressure was high. Okay. Like I was having more headaches. But then when I finally healed from that, and I felt better, then I was like, my skin was glowing, my hair was growing, and I wasn't sick. And so I think this is a very important scripture to let you know, like, yes, we're going through things, but don't let it dry up your bones. Don't let it bring you down. Choose to be happy because, you want to be healthy.
For sure.
Right? And people think just food and medicine and vitamins is what's going to make you happy, but really how your mental health is what's going to keep your body together and keep it like from always being in the hospital. What is your thoughts about that?
See, I think that this one was probably my favorite one because that first part, a joyful heart is good medicine. That is so hard to remember, especially like you said, like when you're going through the storm and you're actually going through something. It's just so hard to remain positive and just see the good in it, or even see that you're still going to come out of it.
Right.
And so this one really sticks with me. So I think this is my favorite one. And then, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. So it's like you said, like when you were feeling down all the time, that's when you start to become sick. And that's when you just start to have these symptoms of just of just sadness.
Yeah.
Like your sadness is coming out to the outside. And so I absolutely love this one. I think it's my favorite one. But oh my gosh, this one radiates with me so much.
Yeah,
so
same,
much.
same. And then the last one I did was Nehemiah 8, verse 10. And it says, the joy of the Lord is your strength. So not only can you find joy in the Lord, but when you are weak, you know that you can lean on him for his strength, which they always talk about in church. Like, you know, he allows us to lean on him for his understanding, his strength, and that we are weak and basically like not strong enough when we try to do it on our own. And there's joy in knowing that, and that hope in knowing that God doesn't need us to be like strong or even happy all the time. Sometimes it's just really more of just leaning on him, and he will provide all that we need. So that, I think that one was like my favorite one, because I know I walk around, because I stress easily. I stress very easily. Yes. And so with that, sometimes I be forgetting that I don't always have to be strong. I don't always have to have it together. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. All I have to do is just remember that he's the one that can provide everything I need, right? So that one was like, I think that one out of all of them were my favorite.
See, now this one makes me think I need to go back and read this chapter again, because I like this one, but I forgot about it. So like, oh my goodness, maybe I need to go back and read it. But I absolutely do love this one as well, just for that simple fact. Like you said, sometimes we are really just so down, and you just really just don't see the sunshine. You don't see the end of the tunnel. Nothing's happening for you. It's just that. And so I think the fact that you always can be like, oh, like you said, I can lean on the Lord, I can lean on God, and I can just trust in him. So I feel like that's a really good foundation for when you don't even know at this point. Right. So yes, I love that one.
So those are the 3 scriptures. I'm going to put it in the description. Of course, if you want to read more on it and see like the whole context around those scriptures, you could definitely check those out. That is Philippians 4:4, Proverbs 17:22, and Nehemiah 8:10. So next we're going to explore how the verses provide a biblical foundation for choosing happiness. I think personally, without making it a long part of this podcast episode, is the moral of the story is seek God first. Because everything that you need, that happiness you want, that satisfaction you want, the joy, the peace, what else is, I think it's in the fruits of the spirit, I forgot. I want to say goodness and kindness, but I don't remember everything. But I just know that all the stuff that we're seeking, we're always trying to seek it in money, seek it in people, seek it in like things that might not be good for us to get that satisfaction. And we might get like a minute of satisfaction, but you don't get the full satisfaction. But then you hear a lot of people say, as soon as I started going to church, I started praying more, worshiping more, I started feeling like some type of like weight lifted off. And that's just proof in the pudding right there that if you want true happiness as a woman, as a man, as just humans in general, you have to seek God. And I think that is how you start when you want to choose happiness. When you decide, you know what, I'm not going to let life bring me down. I want to take that first step to choosing to be happy. And I think the first step is following God, seeking God, you know?
Yes. And see, Alicia puts it so well. And it's crazy because a lot of people don't know or whatnot. She has kind of brought me back into the church, kind of, because I took a long break before she had kind of convinced me to get back in there. And so when she says, you know, a lot of these things, you know, money and, you know, your job and all types of stuff, it really won't satisfy you in the end. That's really how I felt when I come back into it and kind of got back on to, you know, my journey with, you know, putting my faith in God and trusting him and whatnot. And so I totally feel that when she says that. And so it's just like, oh, you must start with him as your foundation of happiness first. And everything comes secondhand. Because it really, with only that and without having your relationship with God and basing your happiness on him, everything else, it just doesn't even really matter. And so I couldn't have said it better. Like, you put it so perfectly.
I try a little bit.
Yeah, you can do a little something.
So next we're going to talk about just choosing happiness as a woman, specifically as a woman. I know that I've been through things, but I know that you've been through stuff, and whatever you feel comfortable to share, you can share, and whatever you don't want to, you know, hold it. But I just want to know, how did you learn to choose happiness in your own life with the things you've gone through?
Yes. So I would say I lived a pretty privileged life growing up. I will say that. And so I think when it comes to my story of how I kind of learned to choose happiness, I think I really didn't start with it until maybe I guess I was college age or so.
Mm-hmm.
And what I will say is, I think, growing up, as little black girls or whatnot, you kind of grow up, I guess, like with a lot of self-esteem issues,
Mm-hmm.
and type of stuff like that. And so always I feel like for a lot of my like teenage years and all that type of stuff, I just didn't feel confident in myself.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy with who I was. I wasn't happy with how people saw me. And so I kind of got to my college age, and I kind of just, started venturing out with my looks and how and places I went and the friends I had. And like for me growing up, I grew up on like a military base. So I grew up,
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of people who didn't look like me.
Yeah.
So when I had got to kind of like college age and stuff like that is when I kind of like started to better my relationship with myself, and in
Mm-hmm.
turn that kind of better my relationship with God and with
Mm-hmm.
my faith and stuff like that. Because again, I couldn't, if you're not seeing or you're not around, what will, I guess, kind of what you kind of blend into and what you
Mm-hmm.
need and stuff like that, then you kind of like look for that in other
Yeah.
ways, other things you should not.
Right.
And so I feel like when it came to like when I got into college age is when I kind of like started to choose God in my life, started to really become happy with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that that was a really long journey for me. And it was a really hard time, but it was a really gratifying time as well because
Right.
now I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like that was kind of my story of how I chose happiness.
Good girl, that's good.
Yes.
Okay. I know like some people who've been watching the podcast since day one, they know that like I've some of my testimony, they don't know everything and eventually
Mm-hmm.
it'll get out. But I know that I grew up where I wasn't as privileged at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I moved away from my dad, and got adopted by my brother and his wife, which is my sister-in-law slash mom,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I kind of transitioned into more privileged, middle class, close to high
Yes.
class. And I didn't go through as much as I could have been if I would have stayed
For
with my
sure.
dad and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the my life was really hard mentally and emotionally. Physically, it was great. Like if you saw
Mm-hmm.
it, it looks like a perfect picture. I was,
Yes.
got two
Mm-hmm.
parent household, and we had enough money to get by, and we didn't struggle as much. But mentally and emotionally, I was going through a lot because of stuff that happened with my dad and like my birth mom and all
For
of that.
sure.
And so I always had this mindset, okay, I'm just going to try to be happy. I'm just going to choose to be happy. Grew up in church because
Mm-hmm.
my sister-in-law had us in church
Oh yeah.
literally since 6, 7 years old in the church, all day in church, Monday through Friday, and then Sunday. Saturday, probably your only day off unless you have to practice for like a play or something or choir or
Oh
something.
no.
And stayed in church. But like,
Yes.
even though I was in church, I didn't really accept God for who He was and actually dig more deeper into how I can be genuinely happy
Absolutely.
until I got a little bit after college.
Mm-hmm.
Like my first degree. After I got my first degree, that's when I really started tapping into okay, God, I guess are you real? Like let
Mm-hmm.
me. I want to learn you. I want to get a relationship with you,
Yes.
and it was rough. He was
Okay.
like, oh, if you want to join
Right.
me, it's gonna
Right.
be a rough one. It's not gonna be easy. I'm just letting you know. That's literally how I felt the conversation went. And it took a while for me to say, you know what, I'm gonna jump on this wagon with you. And I
Mm-hmm.
honestly can say that I didn't really fully commit and say yes and be submissive to him and finally start feeling that happiness until maybe 2 years ago.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
And so but I've always, like I said, I've always known God, and my church was very wise. So we
Yes.
learned a lot about, like, when it comes to teaching the Bible, there was no problem. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we learned the Bible, we did Bible Jeopardy, all of that stuff. But I didn't really have that. Like, I had the wisdom and the knowledge, but I didn't have the connection until a couple years ago.
Mm.
And ever since then, like, I'm not saying that life is perfect,
For sure.
but I can definitely tell that I'm happier
Yes.
than I've ever been.
Yes.
Because it was back then in college, I don't know what was going on. But I love that, you know, you decided even at a younger age in college, because a lot of kids don't be
Very true.
They don't really
Very
be
true,
going to church. Like once you leave your parents' home, you're not trying to go to church. You're not trying to go to Bible study. You trying to have fun and go get lit. And I'm pretty sure you still did have fun and enjoy yourself.
Of course.
But it's good that you started then because then it was going to create that foundation for when you get older as an adult, like even more of an adult than, 17, 18, 19.
Yes. Yeah. And I can't give all the credit to myself because how I actually really started getting into it, now that I kind of think about it, it was my first year roommate. She kept going to church every weekend. She would always invite me, and I'd be like, we got school tomorrow. But like, I had 8 a.m. on Monday. But one day I was just like, I guess, girl, they serve free dinner. So then I went. God got me right on up in there.
God was like, I know a way to get her in. I know a way to hook her in right now. Free dinner. Especially as a college kid, you need that dinner.
Well, that's just what you need.
Yeah, so that's good. That's good. I'm glad. Yeah, I think the way God got me in, He didn't get me in with no free dinner. He got me in with at the point where I just realized, because I was at a point, and I think I said it in the last episode, where I was a void filler. Like I was a true void filler, and if it wasn't me spending money to fill that void or people to fill that void, I was always trying to find something. And God put me to a point where I was isolated. And like moving out here, I didn't have no family or friends. I just had CJ and his family, but I wasn't as close with them years ago compared to now.
For sure.
So God put me in a place where I couldn't go nowhere. Like if I really want something or need that satisfaction or need to be fulfilled with that, He was the only option. And He put in it. I mean, it sucks I had to, you gotta learn the hard way sometimes when you're a stubborn person. But God was like, oh, you want to see it in friends? Boom, you ain't got no friends. Oh, you wanted in money? Boom, now you ain't got no money. You wanted into this and that. And He just kept taking it away until I realized, okay, let's sit at the table and have a conversation. Obviously, if I really want my void to be filled the right way, I have to seek it through you.
Yes.
And that's when He really brought in that happiness that I needed now. So,
I love that.
Unfortunately, it took a while, but He finally got me here. So I guess something came good out of it.
Yes.
So next we're going to talk about some practice tips for cultivating happiness that I came up with. And then, of course, everybody, we're not professionals, okay?
For sure.
All of this information that we are talking about, things and topics and tips, is stuff that I've researched. Pretty sure she's looked into some things. And we're not licensed professionals, okay?
For sure.
But all of this is research that you can do yourself. So definitely, have that in mind, okay? We're not telling you that this is exactly what you need to do, but this is something that may have helped one of us in a situation. The first one is practicing gratitude. I think it's very hard to be grateful now because I feel like a lot of our mindset, especially as women, I feel like sometimes as women we kind of feel like people owe us.
Yes.
And in some situations,
yes,
people do.
Some.
But we feel like, okay, well, we feel like people owe us. And then we feel like, oh, I'm a hard-working woman. I've been working hard since this, especially if you're like a firstborn daughter or sometimes even the last-born daughter. You have that mindset. I've been working all day. I've been doing all this. Like I'm here because of me. And then it's like, no, you have people that helped you along the way. You have friends. You have family. Even though you may not be friends with them or be connected with them now, but you have people that helped you to get to where you are and to help you to be a better version of yourself. God first, So it's like I think practicing gratitude will definitely help you to realize that life isn't as bad as you think it is, and like smell the roses. Like it's not as bad as you think, and you can actually be happy. Yeah, you didn't get the car that you wanted, or you didn't pass that exam, but look at the brighter side of things and be grateful that you are experiencing it in this way, because some people have it worse.
Okay,
way worse.
Way worse.
I think I had a conversation with my sister the other day, and she kind of checked me a little bit, just a little bit. She had me, but because I was telling her like last year for Christmas, but we were on the phone a couple of days ago, and we was talking about how I feel like I didn't have it good when it came to college.
Yes.
And of course, in my mindset, I'm just thinking about the stuff I've been through. But in her mindset, she was like, well, you went to school for free. You didn't have to pay for no tuition. And you had scholarships after scholarships. And you really had it better than most college kids. Mm-hmm. And at first I got mad, but then I was like, you know what? After a while, I had to think about it. And I was just like, dang, like she ate. She ate, like, because what? Okay, you're right. If I ever failed a class or didn't do well, it was really my fault. I can't blame nobody else because, like, being an adopted kid, sometimes you have privileges where you get accommodations, you get money, you get all kinds of stuff paid for you, where you don't really have to lift a finger. And I was able to experience that, and I still lacked and still slacked and still messed up and didn't care, didn't show up to class, spent money that they sent me on crap when I could have saved it for. So that was like the first thing I started thinking of when I was like, oh, I need to be more grateful. Like, other kids don't have this. Some kids had to pay out of pocket for school. And some kids, some kids had to go in them little small dorms.
Okay.
I was in an apartment my first year. I know, like, some people might find that silly, but I just was thinking, like, I'm like, dang, I really did have it good. Even though I was going through a lot mentally, I had it good physically. Yes. Like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but I wasn't practicing gratitude at all.
For sure.
And so then I started blaming other people, and then other stuff started coming up, and I'm just pointing fingers when really it was really my fault. I feel like practicing gratitude definitely helps you to look in the mirror.
Oh, for sure.
And to see that, you always mad about what they did, but what did you do?
Yes.
In situations. What about you?
And yes. And I also feel like it's always important to remember that you are going to slip up sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you are just going to act so ungrateful, or you're just going to forget. And it's going to be okay. You're going to have those people, like she said, who are going to check you. And you're going to have those moments where you're like, oh, I feel kind of bad that but at the end of the day, just always remembering that when you also remember to practice gratitude with God, always making sure that you're thanking Him, always making sure that you're praising Him. It also helps you to acknowledge praising and acknowledging other people in your life for what they do for you as well. And so you're, of course, always going to slip up, as we all do, because I know every once in a while I'll just be thinking, oh, I'm doing so much for this office at work, or I'm doing so much for this relationship, and things like that. So I think it's just always important to just remember that you're doing so much, and so is everyone else.
Yes.
And I feel like once you do that, people will also be more grateful for you and for what you do as well. And they'll also remember to give you gratitude and give you grace.
Yeah.
So I think that's so important.
That's 100% true. The next practice tip for cultivating happiness is letting go of comparison. Us women, we got that, comparison is in the chokehold for us.
I hate she put this one on the list.
Because, men, you might have some men out there that deal with comparison a little bit, and maybe it's just really more of insecurity.
Yes.
But us, the women species, I don't know what I don't know. Maybe it just started of us being a little girl and seeing other girls just having what we want. Maybe I don't know what it is, but we struggle with letting go of comparison. I still at this big age be comparing myself. My CJ, he hates it. He's like, oh my gosh, that's not our relationship, or that's not you, and you are different, and you need to stop comparing yourself. Like, you don't know what they went through and why they are where they are and all that stuff. And Girl. I know it's a big problem of mine that I'm working on.
But I'm actually kind of glad that you did bring up kind of the men versus women, because I feel like for men, I know instinctively they must have some sort of comparison, because it's just the human brain. It's just how we are. We're built with jealousy and comparison in mind. Yeah. But it's just like, they don't outwardly show it as much, or it doesn't outwardly come out. And I'm like, boy.
Maybe that's why it seems like women are just like, because it seems like women only really struggle with it, but men struggle with it too.
Yes, they just ain't gonna say it. Exactly.
They just, their ego is a little too big. They're not gonna say, "Oh, I wish I had what he got," or whatever the case is. And I told myself that that's something I'm gonna work on this year, and me and my other homegirl too. I know that she deals with this as well. And I think the first part of letting go of comparison is understanding that God puts everyone on a different journey. And though it may look beautiful and great and glorious and shiny on the outside, you don't know what they had to go through their prayer closet, through their relationship with God. You don't know how bad it got for them just to look good on the outside.
Amen.
And so I think that's like the first thing that's like in my head when I think about comparison. It's like some people might look at me and be like, girl, you got the house, you got the man, you got all this and you look like you're living good. And it's not saying that I'm living bad at all.
Of course.
I'm very happy where I am and content. But the stuff that me and my partner had to, the hard work, the working in the mud, the getting our hands dirty to get to where we are. And then that helps me to realize, okay, like, I know probably people look at me and think, oh, they wish they had my life. And I'm over here thinking like, I wish I had their life. And it's like, how about just focus on where you are now?
Yes.
Stop worrying about what you don't got. Stop worrying about what Miss Shelley got. She got the new nice car and all that stuff. And I was gonna say, it was really funny. I watched Timmy Turner, the Family All Parents.
That's my favorite cartoon ever, y'all. She knows it. I love that show.
So the dad was mad at Dinkelberg, the neighbor, because his grass looked greener and like he had all these things he was buying to make his grass and yard look good. So he started spending money he don't got trying to up him. And I'm just like, and see, and that applies to us as humans, that we see people with better than what we have or what we considered better, and then we going over here breaking our back to get the same stuff when God is like, that's not your journey. That's not the path. They're going that path. I put you this way. Why are you worried about what they got going on? Now you're about to lose everything that is supposed to be for you or that you already have because you want to be worried about the neighbor next door. But I just had to bring up the Dinkelberg thing because it's so funny.
That's my favorite. Oh, I love that.
It's so funny. Is there anything you can give, like, advice when it comes to comparison?
Oh my goodness. Comparison is a very, very hard one for me. And then especially with the age we live in now, social media, you see people's lives all the time, or you don't see people's lives. And so it's just like, that can be a very hard thing to deal with. And you see people like moving on, but of course you're never going to see the time when people slow down because we're going to post those. But so I feel like it's always, when it comes to letting go of comparison, I always try to remember for myself, you're on your own journey. And also just think of how far you've come. So I always think about myself like 5 years ago, how far I would have been to or how happy I would have been to be where I am right now.
Right.
And so I always just always remember that. And then also, you have so much life to live. Like this is really, it's a marathon. It's not a race. Right. And so there's so much more to go through. And so just live your race. That's it.
Right. Another thing I was going to say, if you struggle with comparison, also think about what would happen if you did go 10 steps faster than what you were supposed to.
Ooh.
And then you end up getting hit with the biggest comet.
Yes.
Compared to if you would have done it the pace where God.
Yes.
Like my mindset is, everybody that's in my life knows I want kids now.
For sure.
And now I'm thinking, dang, like 3 years ago I wanted kids. What if I would have had kids back then? It would have been a disaster. It would have been a disaster compared to now, where I'm like, okay, actually this would be a perfect time to have kids.
For sure.
Compared to 3-4 years ago, when I was still dealing with lust, I was still dealing with comparison, I was still dealing with like pain and trauma from my past.
Yes.
Like, and I'm pretty sure God is up there like, you see why I told you this, to wait? Like, your time is coming, just be patient.
Yes.
That's why I'm like, every time I start comparing myself, I'll be like, you know what, no, if I'll get there at some point. Right now it's not my time. And that's okay. And just because it's a not yet doesn't mean it's a no. So I'm good. Like, focus on where I am now. Be present now, because you can't get that back once you're, moving forward. So that's another thing I have to tell myself when I start comparing.
I love that. I love that. Yes. Because
then you don't want to bite the bullet too early, because you want to be where that person is when you're 10 steps back from where they are.
Literally.
No. Can't have that.
Can't have it.
So next is prioritizing self-care. Now, a lot of people think self-care means, get your nails done, your hair done, go get a massage, and go spend a bunch of money at Target. That's not what I mean by prioritizing self-care.
No.
Self-care, where's your mind at? Working on your heart posture, working on your mental health, going to therapy, actually taking time to meditate or pray, be in your prayer closet more, taking care of your health. Are you going to your doctor's appointments annually like you're supposed to?
Yes.
Are you getting your vitamins? Are you taking care of your hair, or are you just being a couch potato, eating Oreos all day and not doing nothing, for drinking all day?
Okay.
Just not getting rest, taking naps, like actually resting. Like people be like, oh yeah, I am resting, but then like CJ, I'm gonna snitch on him, but he'd be like, oh, I just need a rest day, and I'm like, okay, come home, he playing the game. I'm like, you're not resting. You're not resting. Go lay down. This is you think that's resting, but you're still using more of your brain,
for sure,
and more of your body movement and strength to play that video game. Even though it might be easy to you, you're still, people don't understand how the body works.
For sure.
You actually need to lay down, close your eyes, and rest.
Yes.
And so I think that's what self-care, like, don't think in this, like, because in society and social media, they tell you self-care is going to get your nails done. Like, that's a part of being a woman, going to get your nails done, because it makes you feel good. But you can look as beautiful as you want on the outside, but how about the inside? Work on the inside.
Yes.
And what I meant by heart posture is, how are you treating other people? Are you working on how you treat other people? Are you working on how you talk to people? Are you looking at things from, other people's like point of view as well? Are you in a situation where you had an altercation and you may have hurt that person's feelings? Are you working on how you speak to people, and going out your way to be there for people is another way of self-care as well.
For sure.
And so that's a good step. Not the first step, but that's definitely a step I feel like you need to try to accomplish, and not think of it as a materialistic thing. Think about it as an actual inner working thing as well.
And people don't think about that, especially with like when it comes to self-care, like she said, your actual inner health. And like a lot of us are running around. We have family members who have like chronic diseases, all types of stuff, from being stressed and from and like she said, like making sure that you're putting out that positive energy. Because just think about it, even if you're like putting out negative energy or being very rude to people, people are going to bring that back to you, and then you're not, I don't want to go outside, I don't want to talk to people, and then you're just it's a mess. So self-care, it's so much deeper, like she said, than running errands, getting your nails done, things like that. It's really taking care of who you are on the inside as well. And like you said, make sure you go to those doctor's appointments, y'all. Make sure you're being healthy.
I probably tell like all of my siblings, because I mean, we're all close in age, and I'm like we're not little kids anymore, where all we need is a little Flintstone vitamins and an orange juice, high C, and like my back hurt, my knees be popping, like it's time, we're getting at that age where we really need to take care of ourselves. So we don't want to be like grandma and grandpa and uncle and auntie who got like 5 medications on their dresser because they didn't take care of themselves.
Yes, and y'all, all them hot Cheetos we ate, now we got stomach issues.
Hot Cheetos for breakfast. Like, what was we doing as kids? Showing up was that was the first thing that I didn't even want no breakfast. Let me go to the vending machine, get me some hot Cheeto bags, 2 of them, honey buns, Skittles. Girl, eat that in the classroom. Breakfast.
Could be having hot Cheetos with the nacho cheese.
Yes. And the sad thing is that we still at this age, as a community, is still eating it to this day.
Girl, and then we all grow up and we wonder why we got such stomach issues and high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. Oh my gosh. If you don't have it, if you have health insurance, pause this video right now and schedule your appointment. Okay? Because like people don't be taking it serious. They're like, oh no, it's my genes are good. Like I'm never sick. I don't ever get sick.
Yes.
And then God be like, oh yeah, okay. Boom.
Okay.
Now you got the flu and it's hitting you harder than what the flu's supposed to hit you with. Like, take care of yourself. Take your vitamins. Take some elderberry. I'm big on elderberry. Drink some elderberry. Something. When you wake up in the morning, you should not be eating. I'm not funny. You should not be eating crazy. Like, take care of. And I have to tell myself that because I'm a big sweets person. Girl, I love me a good brownie, cookies, some, and every now and then maybe a little Skittle or 2. I just be
okay.
I'd be like, but I'm definitely like, I'm not I'm not so focused on always having my hair done, my skin. I mean, not my skin, but my nails and all that stuff. Like, I don't remember last time I got my nails done. I haven't got my nails done in a very long time. It's been some years. And so, but when I say self-care, I really, really genuinely start working on, like, I'm journaling. I'm watching other people's podcasts that talks about self-care in that way. I'm going to church. I'm praying in my prayer closet. If it's not in here, if it's in my room, and I'm genuinely working on myself. I'm going to the doctor more just to check on myself. And women, just another sidebar, go to a gynecologist and OBGYN. There's no reason why you didn't go to one years ago. Go and get checked and make sure you're good. Even if you're not trying to have kids, like, still check your ovaries, still make sure your body is good.
Make sure everything's good.
Yeah, I feel like that's still a sense of self-care. And we're talking about women, so I feel like that's very important. Going to check and make sure you have no lymph nodes, make sure that not dealing with any tumors in your breast and like your arms and things like that stuff is important. That's self-care. That's self-care, because if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of someone else?
Exactly.
If you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to get to that next level? God needs you at a 10 at this level, but you at a 5 because you don't never take care of yourself. And then when he says, oh, it's time, you're going to be like, God, I ain't even got it in me. Then you dropping the ball because you're not ready. So I just really think self-care is like big. That's very important. The next one is surrounding yourself with positive influences. They talk about in church about how you need to watch your ear gates and your eye gates, what you see, what you watch, what you listen to, the people you have around you. And I think that's very big. That's something that I've been working on. I've been doing a lot of fasting with music and movies and shows, because I'm a big, like, supernatural, like, vampires, werewolves, goblins, all of that.
This girl.
I love it all, like Vampire Diaries originals, like all this stuff. I'm all into that. And I'm also an R&B girl, which sometimes a lot of R&B can be very lustful and very
much so
not good. And I love all that kind of stuff, but I had to take a fast. I think I did like a 3-month fast one time of just only gospel music and jazz music. That's it.
How was that, girl?
It was hard. It was hard because I'm a diehard R&B girl. And then the only thing I was watching was the show called The Chosen, which talks about, like, they basically show like how it was before and after Jesus was here on earth. It's like one of those like shows. And so that's the only thing I would watch. I stopped watching Supernatural. I started watching all that stuff. I didn't even watch like things like Grey's Anatomy. I definitely didn't stop watching Game of Thrones. Like, I wasn't watching none of that stuff. And it was hard at first. Then eventually I learned to love it. And now when I listen to worldly music, I'm like, and I turn it off because my ears are just it's so in tune with that fast. So I think, like, with surrounding yourself with positive influences, not only just people, like, of course, surround yourself with people who are going to remain positive, people who are going to uplift you, but also just be careful of what your ear gates and your eye gates, because they are actually connected to your soul.
For sure.
And so people don't understand, like, and I'm pretty sure like doctors and scientists do, but normal people like us don't understand how connected everything is in our body.
For sure.
And if you allow something to enter in any one of them, it will affect your whole body. Like the R&B music, like, you start being lustful, you start thinking these different ways, like how these artists are. And I'm not calling them bad people, but unfortunately they're singing about songs that shouldn't apply to certain people because of, where you are in life.
Exactly.
And so I started listening to more gospel music. I started listening to more elevated music. And like, I love jazz music, so I listen to jazz. If I'm like, okay, I'm tired of listening to people scream and gospel music all day, I'm like, okay, I'll listen to some jazz or classical music.
Yes.
And then I just started back listening to like a little bit of R&B and watching certain shows, but even now, like, I feel, I don't know, I wake up and I feel better when I surround myself with that kind of stuff, compared to waking up watching this and listening to that, and then I'm having a horrible day. Like, I saw the difference, and it was crazy to me.
Yes.
I was like, no, I got to surround myself with more positive things. And even people back in the days, college,
listen.
I cannot now. The person I am now, I cannot be surrounded with those type of people no more.
At all.
I'm not calling them bad people. It was just whatever, they just had their own stuff going on. But when you surround yourself with people who's just always like negative and all, that rubs off on you.
It does.
And then you're being negative for no reason, because people don't understand we got energies. And if you were always happy, which you're always happy and laughing and giggling, then that rubs off on me and helps me to have a good day, especially if we're hanging around a lot. But if I'm just all depressed, sad, angry, bitter, and we hanging out, that's gonna rub off on you one way or another. And people are like, oh no, I'm very strong and I'm my own person. No one can, corrupt me. And it's like, little do you know, all it takes is one weak moment and you surround yourself around someone and that rubs off on you.
Yes.
So that's my little insight on that. What about you?
See, and I love that. And the thing about this is such a hard thing for people when you say surround yourself with positive influence, positive speaking, things like that. Because as people, we want to think we're so mentally tough that nothing can influence us.
Yeah.
That, oh yeah, that person, they could never make me do that.
Yeah.
And just because I hang out around this group doesn't mean I'm going to do this with them. But like that's completely, it's so false. Like, yeah. We really do. Everything influences us. Everything that we take in, whether it's words, whether it's people, anything like that, food, it all affects us in some way.
Yeah.
And so I feel like just making sure that anything that you're hanging around, anything that you're taking in, people's energy that you're around, I think that it's really important that you make sure that it's on the same level that you want to be on, or even higher.
Yep.
So that you can make sure that that's what's coming into you and that's what's coming out of you at the next time around. So
that's true. I saw somebody post and say, oh, if you want to be a millionaire, surround yourself with millionaires. If you want to be a good mom, surround yourself with good moms. If you want to be this or that, surround yourself with those kind of people, because their energies you absorb it. We're sponges. Yes. And if we start walking with ducks, we start walking like a duck. If we start walking with gooses, that's not a word, gooses. Then we'll start walking like them, But if we start walking around with, I don't even know a really bad animal to use as an example. Start walking with snakes, you become a snake.
Hey.
So, like you be careful with what you have around you, because that dictates if you will have a happy journey and a good journey and a joyful journey, or if you're going to be depressed and miserable and broke and angry all the time and, all this other stuff. And be careful with trauma bonding with people too.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like, be careful with hanging with people because they've gone through the same stuff. Like, sometimes that's good, but then if y'all just sit in that with each other all the time and don't elevate from that, then you're just throwing back negative energy to each other too.
Exactly.
So that's a good thing to do. The last one is focusing on what you can control. Yeah. Yes. Focusing on what you can control. I know there's no one in this world that is a woman that can tell me they haven't gone through a situation where they thought they could control their life outcome or what's going on in their life, and when it didn't go their way, they start freaking out. I think all of us women have a slight bit of OCD, just a teeny tiny bit. Yeah. Yeah. Because I still deal with that today, but I'm trying to learn that just because we don't see it happening doesn't mean that God's not doing something. And so I'm trying to teach myself that if I want to give control, I need to understand that I might not see him in the work, but he's in the work. And I just have to be patient and understand that it's in his timing. And I think that is what would help with people who deal with control.
Yes.
And I always talk about being comfortable, being uncomfortable. I've been saying that since high school with my sisters, like telling them to be comfortable, being uncomfortable, because there's going to be, if you don't be comfortable in the new uncomfortable, then you are going to try to control everything.
Yes.
And then if it doesn't work out for you, now you're depressed, now you're miserable, now you're unhappy. No, that's not the case. You're not miserable and unhappy. The problem is that you don't know how to let go. And so I had to teach myself that a long time. And I still, to this day, because there are things there's some stuff you just can't control.
Exactly.
Like, and forcing control, all you're doing is just, I don't know, it's just putting you in a bad situation. I think that when we get to the point in life where, deal with what you can deal with and can control, and we allow God to take control of everything else, it will go smoother.
Yes.
Now, that's not saying that, like, as a Christian or as a person who believes in God and Jesus, doesn't mean that your journey is supposed to be perfect and like miracles every day and blessings every day. Because I mean, Jesus didn't deal with that.
Exactly.
I mean, he had people spitting at him, throwing stones at him, treating him like a nobody since birth.
Yes.
Yeah, you had some people who liked him and loved him and adored him, but you had a bunch of people who hated him. He had a very rough journey, and though a lot within his journey, he had good moments. He was able to do miracles and bless people and have fun. He even went to like weddings and celebrated with them and stuff like that. But he still had a rough journey. And though he's God too. He can definitely do some stuff, but he learned that he had to trust in God.
Yes.
He couldn't control everything, even though he could have, because he knew that sometimes certain stuff has to come out, certain outcomes have to happen, you know. And so I just my mindset now is maybe this is happening because obviously everything that happens is for our good and it's supposed to fulfill the will of the Father, right? So I'm like, instead of me getting mad because this didn't happen, there's something good that's going to come out of that.
Yes.
And if I try to play God, then what was supposed to happen, that testimony that was supposed to reach that person, it's not going to reach them.
It's not going to reach them.
Because we're not just living life for ourselves. We're living life for other people behind us and in front of us too. So that's what helps me to stop being so controlling, because I can be very controlling. I used to be very controlling in friendships. I used to be very controlling in relationships. And I learned that, you know, everybody wasn't brought up like you. Everybody's not going to react the same way you react. Everybody don't understand the stuff that you understand. And you trying to over-explain to someone, trying to get someone to understand, trying to control that person is not going to help.
Exactly.
It's just going to make it worse, or you just adding more fire.
Exactly.
So doing what you are capable of doing and letting go and letting God is the best option when it comes to choosing happiness and not being so stressed out.
Yes.
Because I couldn't be God. I'm sorry. I'll be so stressed.
Okay.
I can't.
I
don't have it in me.
No.
So sometimes I have to tell myself, like, girl, this is too much. You're going to be stressed out. Let it go.
Let it go.
Let him take care of it.
Let him take care of it.
If it gets too stressed out for me, I'd be like, all right, God, you like to get your hands dirty anyway, so I'm going to just give it to you. I don't even look at my nails. I'm not trying to get my hands dirty. I'm not trying to, it's just not for me. I'm going to just give it to you. You figure it out. And I'm going to sit here and watch my TV and relax.
Yes.
And not be stressed out. That's just my mindset on it. You know? I just don't have time for it.
Exactly. And see, I love that, because when it comes to focusing on what I can control, when it comes to my happiness, whenever something's out of my control, or just whenever I'm doubting something, or if I feel like I've done my best at it, but I just don't know how it went. Like, for example, we're in school right now, so it's like, like if I have an exam and if I'm like, oh my God, I did what I could, I just don't know.
Yep.
All I say is, it's his will, it's his way.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And it's just like, as long as you are doing what you can do to put yourself in the best place you can be, he's already got you on the path that you need to be on. All you need to do is follow him. And so just always remember, it's always his will, his way. You just need to walk in Christ and do what you need to do.
Right. Exactly. And it's easier said than done. A lot of people are like, they be saying, oh, y'all Christians, y'all say is, oh, just do this and it'll just work out. And it's like, no, trust and believe. We gone through the fire plenty of times.
The fire.
Okay. But at the same time, it's like, you get to the point where you're just tired. There's nothing, God has already went before us.
Yes.
To do the things that we are begging him to do. People don't understand that God's timing up there or wherever heaven is different from our timing. Like we are so focused on what's today's date, the 5th. We're so focused on stuff that we want for the 6th of April. Literally. When God is already in June for us right now.
Okay.
And if we're trying to control it, we're going to end up messing up everything that he has made for us. And then we push ourselves back even more.
Yes.
So I just be like, you know what? I'm not going to fumble my bag.
At all.
Because I know he got something good coming for me in the next few months. And if I want to be able to have access to that, instead of me working trying to think about, oh, what I need to control, let me just focus on me and fixing what I need to fix in me, so that I can be ready for what he's about to give me. That's something that I have to tell myself. But like I said, it's easier said than done. Sometimes you just get to a point where you want to control everything because you're scared of the outcome.
Yes.
You're scared of the uncomfortable. You're scared of the unknowing. But it's like, that's why God said, lean on my understanding, not yours. If you lean on your own understanding, then of course you're going to be scared and worried all day. But if you lean on my understanding, then you know that everything that I do for you is for your good. Exactly. So no matter what, it's going to be good. Exactly. And the plan is always bigger and better than what we plan too.
Yes.
So that's another way we're getting through control. The next thing we're going to talk about is just happiness and mental health. And we're going to be brief with this. The connections between happiness, mental health, and just your overall well-being. I feel like mental health is mental and spiritual health. Those are the two things that you need to focus on before you worry about physical and all this other things. Where are you at mentally? Have you been managing your stress and your anxiety?
Yes.
Have you been working on not trying to control things because it brings so much stress and anxiety? I've been dealing with anxiety since I was 12 years old.
Yes.
I got diagnosed at, I want to say, I think I was like in high school, so 9th grade, 10th grade is when I got diagnosed. And I started taking anxiety medication for it shortly after. And all my life, I just thought, okay, yeah, this is just something I was diagnosed with. The doctor said I got anxiety. That's why I keep stressing. That's why I keep being overwhelmed. This is what I'm going through, whatever the case is. But it's really a mental thing. It's really your mind. It is. And our mind is very strong. And so I just be thinking like, okay, I want to be happy. I'm seeking God now. I'm like, okay, God, I'm seeking you. What's the first step to being happy? I want to be happy. And God's like, learn how to manage your stress. Learn how to be more organized so you won't be stressed.
Yep.
Like, and in my head, I'm like, God, this is little things. Like, what's the big stuff? And then he'd be like, no. The first thing is organize your room. Let me see if you can do that. If you're capable of doing that, then maybe we can take it to the next step.
Yep.
So now I had to learn how to keep my room organized and to not have it all crazy. So then I finally, mastered that. And I was like, okay, God, where can we get to the big things? Like I wanna be happy. And God's like, okay, I'm gonna give you another thing to do. Work on your anxiety. Yes. And I was like, okay, what do you mean by that? I mean, this is just an illness I deal with. Like, there's no fixing that. It's just something I'm going to deal with for the rest of my life. And he was like, well, why do you have anxiety? And then it goes back to, oh, because I can't control like what's going on. Exactly. I can't control if things are going to work out good. And then he has the mindset, okay, well, first and foremost, he knows that I like to do like event planning and stuff. And I used to do it a lot when I was younger. And he put me in a lot of situations where I was like, okay, God, I want to work on this control thing. I want to work on this anxiety thing. And he was like, okay, I got you. And literally every event I hosted was just mayhem. Ooh. Things were going wrong. All this stuff was going crazy. Vendors were like messing up or not showing up or bringing the wrong things. And I'm just like, God, I just said I want to work on, and you're just giving me all this craziness. And he's just like, okay, I want to see how you act in this situation. And so I was like, okay, let me calm down. Let me think. And then I started taking care of different things bit by bit and fixing it, and end up being really good, like good couple of weddings or a good couple of events. And then he was like, you see how you calm down and don't think about what's going wrong. Think about what you could do to make it right. And so then I was like, okay, I see what you're doing here. Right. I see what you're doing here. And so the whole point of that is what I was saying is having that relationship with God and having a conversation with him about the things you want to do. You're so focused on, okay, God, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. And God's like, well, you can't be happy if you're still dealing with this. You can't be happy if you don't know how to, you can't even keep your room clean. Like, you want to have all this control and have all this power, but you can't even deal with the smallest of things that's going on in your life. And now you're wondering why you're so stressed out, why you have so much anxiety. Yes. And so that is when I realized I don't have anxiety. I just speak it out my mouth, and what you say out your mouth is powerful. And when I say I have anxiety and say that this is going wrong and say that I can't help this situation or fix this, that I'm bringing that energy into my life and making it a reality.
Yes.
And so now, instead of me saying, oh my gosh, this is not going right, this is going wrong, I just be like, okay, God, what you need me to do? What is the small steps you need me to do first? So I don't be stressed out, and so I don't have an anxiety attack, and so I don't panic. And I think having those small conversations with God is the first step when managing your stress and your anxiety. But some people, that don't even work for them.
True that.
Some people, they really cannot control it, and they really, really needs to go to like a therapist or somebody like that. Now, that's different. Some other people's situations is different. But people like us who just was told, okay, you got a little bit of anxiety. Oh, you just have a stress problem. I feel like the first step is talking to God and asking him, okay, what can I do?
Yes.
I might not be able to do all this other stuff because that's something for you to do, but what can I do so that I can keep going, keep doing my steps and all that stuff, and fixing all the small stuff? Because a lot of people think, oh, the small steps are not important, the big stuff is. But it's like, if you get rid of if you don't deal with the small stuff, they become bigger.
Yes.
And so that's, hopefully that made sense.
Yes. And it's like, and even if like you're in one of those situations where you do need to go to like a mental health professional or stuff like that, they're going to tell you even the exact same thing. You have to do the small steps first. You got to do the small work first.
Right.
And so just keeping that in mind is just the exact same thing when you're working on that relationship with God and maintaining your happiness with him. You've got to do the small things first. Yep. So like she said, you might want to plan this big event, but you don't even know how to clean your room.
Right.
Girl.
Get it together. You tell me so you want to own a business, but you ain't pay off your credit card bills. Like focus on the small stuff first.
Focus on the small.
That's why you're so stressed and have anxiety. So for managing your stress and anxiety, focus on the small stuff first.
Yes.
Fix the small stuff first before you can even get to the big dogs. Because you look up. You're not even a big dog yet. You're trying to be with the big dogs and you can't even. Come on now. That's me talking to myself. Because I be like, oh yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. But girl, you still ain't clean out your car. Like, how you trying to do all this and you still ain't dealing with these little small stuff? Like, no.
And that's the thing also about like, anxiety and depression for me. It's like when you're not starting with those small things, like, your house might be cluttered, your room might be cluttered, everything might just be all over the place. That's because that's also what's happening in your head. Everything's cluttered in here.
Yep.
There's no space. Child, just
that's true.
Take a minute, woosah, pray about it, and get back up.
Yep.
And clean your room.
Yeah, and clean your room. Exactly. Clean your room. The next thing is seeking support when needed. And honestly, that's just straight to the top, like obvious. I think I say in every episode, go to therapy. Yes. Go to therapy. I say it all the time. And a lot of people they feel like, oh, I don't need therapy. Like, I'm just wasting money talking to a professional about my problems. And all they're doing is asking me, how do I feel? And what do I want? And what do I need? And I'm just like, I don't know what therapist you're going to. And that's why you have to do your research. You can't just go to any therapist. Go to the right one that can relate to you. I mean, as a Black woman, I go to a Black therapist because I just feel like they relate better. Yes. And of course, I go to a woman because men are very good at pushing women's feelings aside. So I go to a woman therapist. But to each his own. Some people might want to go to a Caucasian male therapist. But going to a professional first and foremost, before you go and vent to your friend, before you go vent to your mom, before you go vent to your best friend, go to a professional, someone who's actually taken years and years and experience and got their degrees and licensing, and they understand what's going on in the inside that's causing this to come out on the outside. Go to someone who they might not know what you're going through, but they know it from a professional standpoint to tell you what could help you. For sure. And a lot of people don't know this, but like, you can use your insurance. Like, people be like, oh, I ain't got no money. They have it where you can use majority of their insurance in America to get a therapist. You can use your insurance to get a dietitian. You can use your insurance to get all this stuff. So what makes you think you can't use your insurance to go get a therapist? Like, there's a lot of therapists who really care. They actually offer for you to go and find someone with insurance. Exactly. So that you can get the help you need. Now, some of them, they don't care. They just want the money. But a lot of the doctors out there genuinely want to help you. They've gone to 6-7 years of school, taking psychology classes, taking like anatomy and the mind and all the other stuff so that they can help you, because
Yes.
you don't know what's going on in your brain, but they do.
Yes.
So seeking help when needed. Now, there are times where people feel like, oh, I don't need nobody. Not even just a therapist thing, but like some people have the mindset, I don't need nobody. I could do this on my own.
Yes.
That is a lie.
It is a lie.
Straight from the pits of hell, okay? God put us in this world to connect, to have community, to need somebody. There's a reason why things are called tribes and groups and community. You need that. There's no such thing as you going through life by yourself. Now, you came in this world alone, you die, and you're gonna go out alone. But He put us in this world to need each other.
Exactly.
And once we have that mindset, it will help us to understand when to ask for help.
Yes.
A lot of women don't like to ask for help
at all.
They just were like, I'll just do it on my own. I'm a strong, independent Black woman. I'll do it myself. Like, girl, that's ego and pride. So ask for help.
Yes.
It might be a little embarrassing.
Okay.
But once you let go of that pride, shame, it will help you in the long run with getting help.
Exactly.
Especially when you are depressed, especially when you are grieving, especially when you are going through a breakup or a divorce or whatever the case is. Like, you need your girls. You need sisterhood. You need people to help you, because you never know. Somebody may have went through this years ago, what you're going through, and they could tell you the easy way to get out of it instead of going through the hard way on what they went through. Exactly. You know, and I think that's the whole point of testimonies too.
Yes. Hearing
people's testimonies, and don't be afraid to tell your testimony, because it could help somebody.
Exactly.
The next thing is developing healthy coping mechanisms.
Healthy.
What I mean by that, and if you are under the age 18 watching this video, then just shut it off right now, because I don't want YouTube and Spotify to ban me. But what I mean by healthy coping mechanisms: seeking sex, drugs, alcohol, food. What's another one? Violence.
Yes.
To deal with what you're going through is not going to help you
at all.
For our women that say, I need a glass of wine, it's not going to help you. All you're doing is put a Band-Aid over what is wounded.
Exactly.
The better way to care for it is rubbing it with alcohol, putting your ointments, getting rid of the infection. And the only way to do that is using things that's going to help you, not things that's going to be temporary.
Exactly.
I know that back then I used to, entertain the, what's a good word? Marijuana.
I feel. Yes. Yeah. I hear her.
And back then in college, and I used to drink a lot to deal with my pain.
Yes, that was a time.
And unfortunately, God had to get me to a point where I was in the hospital, like asking for my life.
Yes.
Just for me to stop.
Yes.
And I just want to raise awareness that, we all go through things, and it's hard to find genuine help, especially when you don't have nobody that wants to help you. Some people just like, oh, you gotta go through it just like I went through it. But going to those different things to deal with it, you're not helping yourself. If anything, you're making it worse. Because when you're drinking a lot, people don't understand that actually messes with your mind. And then you can't think straight. Then all you're thinking of is the first thing that comes to mind, which is the negative stuff. When you're high, you don't think clearly all the time.
Exactly.
And I'm not cutting down anybody who gives, smokes little trees, because, sometimes they're medicinal and sometimes they actually genuinely help. But if you're going through something and the first thing you run to is a vape, or the first thing you run to is the club, or the first thing you run to is that really bad ex that you know is toxic, like, you're not helping yourself. You're just digging your hole deeper. And so I think finding very good, healthy, and researching it. Read books. Google is free. Go on there, search up good coping mechanisms for different things that you're going through. And sometimes certain therapists, they have therapists now where they specifically help based off this. Like, this therapist helps based off grief. This therapist helps based off being physically abused. And going to those different therapists, or even if you find one that's is an expertise in all of that, to help you on what to do when you start getting a little weak. Like, I know my therapist, she helped me with my anxiety, and she was, every time I felt like like I was going to have a panic attack or whatever, she was like, what is something that really helps you? And I told her music, and I like to color. And so she put me onto this anxiety book, this coloring book. And so back then, when I used to get stressed out, sometimes I have to run in the room and just pull out my crayons or my color pencils and start coloring. And honestly, that kind of helped me get out of my mind.
Yes.
Compared to back then when I used to have anxiety or about to have anxiety attack, and I'm at the corner store trying to get me Jack Daniels and Henny.
Exactly.
You know? So, and this is not to judge anybody, because we all go through different things. And some stuff work for people and some stuff don't.
Exactly.
But I think that finding something more healthy on how to cope, and then of course, I mean, first and foremost, praying, talking to God. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it helps you to cry out.
It really does.
What was that toxins that was in you that you need to get out? So, is there any things you could think of?
Ooh, and just to reiterate, like even on her passion for like coloring and with like anxiety and things like that, don't underestimate those things that you found really fun as a child.
Yeah.
That can really help you cope with things. Because for example, as a child, for me, I love going fast on wheels. I don't know what it is. I just like going fast on wheels. So whenever I'm like having high anxiety, I go outside and I skate. I keep my skates in my car and I go skating. I be like, oh, down the street. So don't ever underestimate those.
Yeah.
And just always remembering the mind is a horrible place to be trapped, and there's nobody in here with you.
Yeah.
So like she said, just find those healthy coping mechanisms, reach out to your friends and your loved ones, and get that professional help.
Yes. Okay, so I have some questions for you, girl.
Yeah, okay.
Just a couple of questions, because I know that you're very wise and intelligent, and I know that there's going to be someone out there that has the same question. Okay. So the first question I have for you is, what was a turning point in your journey of choosing happiness?
Oh, goodness. A turning point in choosing happiness for me, I believe, has just really been all throughout my 20s, especially my younger 20s, because I'm about like 25, about to be 26 now. I think you see everyone around you, their life's going fast. Some people just going like a million miles a minute. Some people just stopped. Some people are right where you're at. Some people are far off. Like you just don't even know. And so just always remembering you're exactly where you need to be. This is your journey. It's especially for you, and it's going to be okay. So that was a turning point in my happiness. Just remembering you're exactly where you need to be.
Okay. And then, so the next question I have is, how do you maintain a positive mindset even during difficult times?
Oh, okay. So for me, especially as I find my faith and get more into my faith, to remain positive during difficult times, like I said earlier in the podcast, I always repeat to myself, His will, His way, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I always remember that as long as my intentions are pure and I'm doing something out of the goodness of my heart and I'm doing it with love in my heart, then I have nothing to be ashamed of or anything like that. Yeah. So just when you're feeling down or when you just need to be just more positive or whatnot, just always remember, make sure you're acting with good intentions, and it's His will, His way. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, girl. Okay. So the next question I have is, what advice would you give to a woman who is struggling to find joy in their life?
To anyone struggling, or anyone struggling to find joy in their life, I would always just say, find that joy first within yourself.
Yeah.
Everything else will follow.
Yeah.
So just always remember to love on yourself. Make sure you're good on the inside. Take yourself on self-care dates. Make sure you're also doing your own solo dates and surround yourself with people who love you.
Yeah.
And then that joy from the inside, it'll radiate out, and you'll be surrounded with people who also enjoy you.
And understand that you are not what you go through.
Yes.
Like at the end of the day, yes, what you're going through is hard. And like some people, like there's people in my family who lost their partner recently. Yes. And there's other people in my family who lost their parents. And like me, I lost my grandma years ago. Yes. And I know you know what that feels like. And so it's just like, yeah, this is hard. Yes, it's a trial and tribulation that I had to go through. And it's not something that just goes away. For sure. But understanding that, like I said earlier, everything God do is for your good. And though it may not look like it, understand that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Always.
And that it doesn't rain forever. And after every storm and rain, there's a rainbow. You know? I think that is a very, very big one.
Very, very powerful.
So my next question is, how have you seen the biblical principles of happiness play out in your life?
Oh, in every way, every single day. I
Yeah.
think just always remembering, just always looking at God as the source of my happiness.
Yeah.
Just always remember I'm here on earth to serve Him, and that I'm just a vessel, and He's going through me.
Yeah.
And so, just always remembering that, I feel like these scriptures and all the biblical things, it's working through me every day of my life, and just always remember that.
Yeah, definitely. I think I love the story of David, from him being young and his brothers being jealous of him being a shepherd boy, of him fighting the lion and the tiger and the bear, of him beating up Goliath, even though he was puny and the Goliath was like 9 feet tall.
Yes.
From him running from the king and being scared for his life, from him his highs and lows, and then eventually him becoming king. I like he's one of my favorite characters, and I see a lot of myself in him because he grew up in like at a young age being brought in this world, didn't ask to be brought in this world, and had to deal with stuff out the back, like deal with pain and issues, and people who was supposed to love him didn't love him, and then running for his life and trying to be bold at moments, and then fighting different demons, different monsters, and then having to still run for his life, and then eventually being blessed with being king. And I see a lot of me in him and a lot of him in me.
Yes.
And I just love that story because I'm just like, that just shows me that yes, life is not going to be perfect.
For sure.
You're definitely going to go through something. No matter what, you could, billionaires go through stuff.
Okay.
They probably go through stuff more than your average home. But at the end of the day, as long as you allow God to be your stronghold, to be your strength,
amen,
you can get through whatever it is that's thrown at you.
Whatever it
is.
And
honestly, another story I love in the Bible is the story of Job and how he lived what they considered a perfect life. And he was very loyal.
I just read that one.
He was very loyal to God, to the point where God had double hedges around him. He was always protected. Anybody connected to him was protected. And then at some point, Satan was like, you don't let me touch him. You protect him. So if you get rid of some of the hedges over him, I can show you that he's not as loyal as you think he is. And God was like, you know what? I'll take you up on that, which is crazy. So like, don't bet on my life.
Do that.
But he was like, all right, I'll do that. And so he lifted up the hedge, and the devil threw everything he could at him. He got rid of his wife. He was sick. He lost his house. He lost his land. He lost his kids. He lost the dog. He lost everything. The cat. He didn't have nothing, and he was sick and depressed. But he still had the mindset of, you know what, God, this is hard, and I'm not gonna lie to you and make it seem like it's okay. It is hard, but I know that something good is gonna come out of this. I know you're gonna get me through it. I think David, Job, it's a lot of them in there that helps me understand that life is going to be hard, but God promised that we shall have abundance on life as well as in heaven. So which means that you're going to have to go through a couple things, but eventually you're going to get to that point where you're just very joyful and at peace and happy. But the longer you get in your own way, the longer you get in God's way, the longer the pain is.
Exactly.
So allowing him to just do what he needs to do, and though they may throw rocks at you, God, just understand that God is not going to allow you to get hit. Exactly. And it might feel like a hit, but it's not really a hit. So just understand that God's going to get you through it. And it's easier said than done, but having that faith, and that's why he said faith is big as a mustard seed, because
you hear me?
The hardest things hit. I feel like people throw the hardest things at you.
The hardest thing.
But all you need is faith as big as a mustard seed. That's all God. And people don't understand how minute mustard seed is. All you need is to have that mindset of, you know what, my situation is not me. It can't control me. Though it's happening around me, it's not happening to me. It's happening for me.
Exactly.
And I feel like once you have that mindset, then you'll be more happy.
Exactly. And like in David and in Job, both of them had to remain steadfast and humble and grateful throughout everything that was being thrown at them, choosing to be happy even in a time of down.
Yeah.
So exactly.
Yeah. I think that having that mindset would definitely help you to get through anything. At that point, you'll just kind of get a little cocky to the point where it's like, you devil, you can't throw nothing else at me.
Amen.
You can't throw nothing at me. Yep. You can't touch me. And that's why I love David, because he didn't have ego and pride. He had courage. Yes. And he had boldness.
Yes.
To be like, you know what? I might be smaller than you, Goliath, but I serve a high living God. And I don't need my own strength. I got his strength, and he's stronger than you. So
exactly.
So before we end this, I want to get a little bit into the three P's. And then y'all know, everybody that watch my podcast know I love a little good acronym. I love a good little step that has letters in it. So my 3 P's are purpose, pursue, purpose, and passion. So with pursue, creating goals, aiming for greatness, and just doing it. Like, I feel like that's the first step. Just do it. Like, it may be hard. It may be uncomfortable. It may be weird. It may be embarrassing at first, but just do it. And that was like my first thing that I had in my mind with starting this podcast, because I was supposed to been years ago start this podcast, because I had a YouTube channel at one point. And then I ended it because I was just like, it's not working out. But when I was trying to start this podcast, I was just like, you know what? I'll just wait till next year. I'll just wait till next month. I'll just wait. And God was just like, what are your goals? And I'm like, okay, well, these are my goals. And he was like, what's stopping you from doing it? And then I'm looking around like trying to find something. God's like, you're stopping you from doing it. Just do it. Whoever watch is gonna watch. Yes. Whoever support is gonna support. And if they not, oh well. You and that what helps me with each episode, because other people, they get caught up in the numbers and the views and the likes and all that stuff. And at some points I do too. But then I have to remind myself, like, if 20 people watch this video, it's because those 20 people needed to watch this video.
Exactly.
If 100 people watch this video, it's because those 100 people needed to watch this video. If one person watched, maybe that was that one person I need to help get through to them.
Exactly.
So, and I have to realize that this is not my podcast. This is God's podcast. Yes. Like you said, he's using me as a vessel. Vessel to talk to people. So just pursue it. Just go. Just do it. Like, and if you fail, okay. Oh well. Go back to the drawing board. That's all you need to do. Now you know what not to do and what to do. Okay?
Yes.
Just at the end of the day, just pursue it. Start off with just creating some goals. I always say realistic goals. Because some people have goals of, I'm gonna be a millionaire at the end of this week. And it's like, honey, unless your luck is just good, or God just give you so much favor, be realistic. Make some realistic goals and try to pursue them.
Yes.
And I think in the I believe in one of my finance videos I did with my boyfriend, CJ, he talked about like starting small, making those small goals.
Yes.
So making small goals. It don't have to be no big goal. Like, make a small goal. What can you do in the next couple of days? What can you do in the week? What can you do in the month to pursue what you're trying to do, right? The next one is purpose. Finding activities, finding hobbies, finding skills that give you purpose. But of course, first and foremost, seek God, because he's the only one that can give you purpose.
Exactly.
And people are like, I don't have no skills. I don't have this. I don't have that. And it's like, y'all think we just grew up, we just woke up out of the womb one day and God just gave me the gift of saying, or gave you the gift to be good with math or whatever the case. No.
Like, no.
It took work. You had to practice. You had to, research. You had to actually get into it. Like for example, I am very well known, and I feel like I'm a little wise when it comes to skincare, like organic skincare.
Yes.
And I love all things like skincare, from the creams, the oils, all of that. And at first I was like, I don't know how to do this at first, so I'm not going to get into it. But then God put me in a situation where I started going on dates that revolved around skincare and like making your own sugar scrub and making your own this. And that's when I realized, okay, I know how to do this now. So I started practicing at home, and I even started a business a long time ago with my sisters. And now I have that skill where I know how to do that.
Exactly.
I feel like start off with activity. Start off with a girls' date, girls' night out, girls' day out, where you go and learn how to do things so that you can apply that to yourself. And exactly. It kind of helps you find your purpose.
It does.
You know, one day you thinking you're supposed to write books, and then the next day God is like, no, you're supposed to learn how to cook so you could feed the homeless. Like, exactly. You just never know until you do it, though. You have to do it and learn and do your research. The next P is passion. Experiment, try new things, embrace mindfulness and pure joy. Now, what I mean by experiment and try new things, try stuff that you never thought you would be into.
Yes.
People always like, oh, it's lame. I don't know how to do that. I don't want to do that. Ugh. I'm just like, you don't know that you like it until you try it.
Exactly.
Experiment. Like, I have people, like a friend in my group, where I told her, I was like, I want to learn how to knit. And she was like, that's boring. Or you're a grandma. And I was just like, you don't understand how fun it is, girl, right, until you do it. I'm like, little do you know, when something goes wrong in this world and we don't have no more power and y'all freezing, right, I'm gonna be over here knitting me a little sweater and I'm gonna be good. Okay. And then you're gonna be like, dang, I wish I would have learned how to do it.
It's like, somebody gotta knit all this. Yes. We be wearing.
I'm saying, like, listen, we talking about making money. Like, if you know how to sew, make some clothes, sell it. You never know, somebody out there will buy it.
People need stuff altered all the time now.
All the time. It's like, experiment. You never know, you might actually like it. And that is where that pure joy comes in.
Yes.
And some people don't like doing their hobbies as a business because it takes the joy out of it, and that's understandable. But then at the same time, I'm like, listen, if it makes me more money, I'm gonna be happy. Okay. So if I know how to do it, and I'm like big, like I talk to all my friends, everyone, family members, like as soon as they tell me, I think I said something to you recently or back then, where I was like, you know how to do this? Make it into a business. Yes. Make you some money. Like, you happy doing this? This is the best job you can ever have, is doing something you like.
At least you're always gonna tell somebody, start a business.
Start a business. Listen, we is not supposed to be broke, okay? Especially as Black women, we supposed to be succeeding. We supposed to be out there.
The money.
So I'm just like, if you know how to do something, make it into a business.
Right.
Make some money while doing something you love doing.
Yes.
Now, if you know you're not that good, like you can't cook. You love to cook, but you can't cook. Don't make it into a business. But experiment. Like try different things, and also embrace mindfulness. Yes. Being mindful and just enjoying where you are. That's the whole point of hobbies and activities and dates and things. Like, don't focus so much on the technical things. Just be happy where you are. Yes. You know, be happy what you're doing. And when you're going out with your friends or going out with other people, put your phone down. Enjoy your surroundings. Yes. Like, I feel like that creates a lot of passion for a lot of things. For sure. And then, of course, remember that you deserve joy. So forget the past and forget what has happened to you. Yes. I'm going to say it again. You deserve joy. A lot of women be thinking they don't deserve happiness. A lot of women be thinking, oh, he a good guy. This must be a trick. A lot of people be thinking, you're too good to be true. Like, no, maybe God is just saying you deserved a little bit of happiness. You deserve
something good.
Maybe you've gone through so much. You've gone through hell and high water. You are allowed to have this one good moment. Yes. So take in that good moment. Because who knows, that might be the only good moment. That might be the only one. So just remember that, you deserve more than what you think. God says that he sees women as precious as diamonds. And that he loves us just like Jesus loves the church, and that we are important. Honestly, I feel like we're more important, but women, we're important. And so I think walking out like that, remembering that, you know what, I'm as precious as a jewel, as precious as diamond. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to glow. I deserve to feel that joy and that pure happiness. I deserve that. Yes. When you have that mentality, it creates confidence. It creates, like, you're able to get rid of that insecurity, and it kind of helps you to be that new woman. And then most importantly, and this is going to hit a lot of people hard, forgive yourself. You've done a lot. Of course, you made mistakes, but we all have made mistakes. Yes. And if we keep thinking that we don't deserve things and keep punishing ourselves, then we won't be able to have access to that abundance and the gifts and the favor and the signs and wonders that God has for us.
Oh yes, that's what my mom always said all the time. She's always like, "Give yourself grace." Yes.
Like no one, just because you went through that thing, or just because you know somebody that's went through it, doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be happy. Like another thing that a lot of people probably go through, especially in Black families, is, oh, say somebody like a distant cousin or whatever, somebody that you're related to lost someone, and you know you're there for them, you're trying to help them to cope through it, and you are trying your best to be there for them, but now you feel like, oh well, I don't want to go out with my other friends the next day because I don't think I need to be happy because my this person lost this person. I don't deserve to be happy right now. Like, this is a sad day. Like, no, be there for that person, but go have your fun.
Go have your fun.
Because life still goes on.
Okay.
Life still moves on. And though it's hard, and of course you need grace, but the world's not going to stop just because, unfortunately, I mean, this, I don't know, maybe this is a very harsh thing to say.
It need to be said though.
But because I mean, I've lost so many people in my life that I've come to the conclusion that, like, you got to move on, because life's going to move on.
Girl, okay. And that's what I was saying, because I recently lost one in my life. And it's like, when you think about it, you know, you do want to sit around and mope and be so sad, but then at the same time, it's just like, you only get 3 days of bereavement for work, and you got to be back at the desk.
Yeah.
So it's like, you better get it together.
Which sucks, by the way.
Which sucks, but life goes on.
Life goes on. Like, you don't understand how, like, the one thing the devil knows, that if he can't take nothing else, he's trying to take your time.
Yep.
And if you allow him to take your time, then you can't get that time back. And now you're trying to make up time. And now you're stressed. Now you got anxiety. Now you're depressed. And then it's just an ongoing cycle.
It's an ongoing cycle.
So forgive yourself, allow yourself grace, and understand that you deserve happiness. You deserve to move on. Even for people who have, you personally lost someone. I mean, I literally feel like I wasted a lot of my childhood being so obsessed with the fact that I lost my dad. And though, you know, daddy's girl to the day I die, but like, I feel like I was very depressed. I was a mean child at times. I was always angry. I never wanted to go out when my family wanted to go out to the mall, to the movies. I just wanted to stay in the house and mope. And it's like, I didn't really have the childhood that I think I deserved, because I was so caught up in the trials and tribulations that I was going through. And that sucks. So forgiving yourself, allowing yourself grace, and understanding that life still goes on, so you might as well go with it.
Go with it.
That is like, that's going to be what's going to help you to find that happiness and that joy. Exactly. Because what can you do? They gone. What can you do? It's nothing. And not even just with grief, but just with anything. Breakups. Like, some women, like, women take longer to heal from breakups than men. Men, they go through their little pain, and then they continue their life. Women, we're sitting here depressed, and then we're wondering why we be the sicker ones. We always dealing with cancer, always dealing with mental health issues, we're always dealing with all these things. You're sitting here depressed. Move on. I'm not telling you to move fast. Allow yourself to heal. But move on. Continue life. Life is too short.
For sure.
It goes in a blink of an eye. Literally, I could have sworn this year just started, and we are already about to be in the middle of the year.
Girl,
summer is around the corner.
How?
You know, so forgive yourself, y'all.
Yes.
Remember that you deserve happiness. Move on with your life. Start your life. And you're never too late to start your life. That's another thing. Okay? So, anything else you want to add?
No, it was perfect. Just seek God and all that happiness, and you'll be amazing.
Yep. So, thank you guys for listening. I know that this was a long video, like all my other videos. But thank you guys for listening. I hope that within our little giggles and laughs and jokes, that you took something that we said and you're able to apply it to y'all. My sister just told me the other day that she actually, like, I'm not just a waste of space when it comes to a podcast. Like, she says she actually, like, applies a lot of the stuff that I say, and I'm just like, y'all like what I say?
She be dropping some gems in here, y'all.
Thank you. I've been trying so hard, because I just been through so much
For
that I
sure.
just know like God didn't have me go through all this just for me to just go through it.
Oh
He like,
yeah.
nah, you if you gonna go through it, you gonna at least help the next generation or help someone else that's going through it too.
For
And
sure.
I feel like, that's my purpose.
Yes.
So thank you guys for listening. Make sure that you follow on all social media platforms. You can follow her social media if she wants it out there.
Yes.
I'll have it down low in the description. And then, of course, comment below your thoughts. Comment below any gems that you've felt resonated with you. And then, of course, shout out to my guest, Kenedi.
Thank you
My girl. Me and
guys.
her we be dying laughing, cackling,
Yes.
talking about all things in life. And so I just appreciate you for being
Thank you,
here.
girl. Thank you for having me
And
on.
yes, and being so goddamn wise. Because you said things better than what I said and some stuff, okay? But if you guys want to follow her stuff is going to be either on the screen or in the description. And just express what you learned in the comments. A lot of people be scared to comment. Just comment, y'all. I promise y'all I will respond within 24 hours. And probably even faster than that because it's connected to my phone. So don't be afraid to share your opinions and thoughts or anything that you might want to add to this conversation. And I can't wait to see you guys on the next episode. I love you guys. Bye.